Do you guys see any path to victory at this point?
I mean, technically, if we can stay on the ballots, we've qualified for all the ballots now, which is like an enormous feat. Like you don't understand. The system was designed after Ross Perot to keep this from ever happening again, and we accomplished it. So technically, we could win. We could absolutely win still. The problem is if you censor a candidate, as we've been censored, people don't get a chance to even hear us. There are things that could happen that would still allow us to win in November, even in this environment. And it could, you can't predict the number of variables. But as long as we remain on the ballots, we could win. The question is the risk of a Harris-Walz presidency worth us staying in? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves right now is, do we trust Trump and in his personal sincerity to really do the right thing for our country and chronic disease, balance the budget, end these forever wars? Is he somebody that's going to continue to invite people like Bobby and I into the conversation? Or is he going to fall victim again to the things he fell victim to in his first administration? So we're weighting it all. It's not an easy calculation. We want what's best for this country first and foremost. And it is, it's an interesting place to be. I won't lie. Like you can't make this stuff up.
As somebody who understands that we're connected to something bigger, that spirituality and politics are intertwined, what does your gut tell you about how this is going to play out?
This election is so important, but so is the 2026 governor race in California. And my gut tells me that sometimes you need to go to the source of where all of this stuff is coming from. It's coming from right here in California. It's coming from the influence Silicon Valley and Hollywood has had on the Democratic Party. It comes from this idea that you can manipulate people with lies to get their votes. It comes from this lack of accountability that just seems to continue to spiral. And I think that what my gut tells me right now is that we just have to keep being honest. I got to just keep being honest. I got to keep focusing on what matters the most outside of party lines. I need to focus on a vision that goes beyond November. And if that means that we stay in, and, there's benefits to staying in. If we get over 5% of the vote, we actually establish ourselves as a party. 71% of Americans want a strong third party with a real shot at winning. There's even public funds available if we get over 5% of the vote. So we could get, I think it's like $13.5 million in public funds to keep the party going. And that's, that's worth something. That means that we can position for a real third party election in 2028 where we don't have to go around and spend tens of millions of dollars on ballot access, which means that we can spend all of that time and money campaigning. So, there's two options that we're looking at. And one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
Now, are you saying that if you did end up deciding to back out, that you would run for governor, or you would back somebody for governor?
Oh, you caught onto that piece, huh? I don't know yet. I think that I'd be happy to support somebody great to run for California governor so that we can nip this dynastic lineage in the butt. I would consider running as well. I want to be involved in California. I think, we're the sixth largest economy in the world. We have every opportunity to get this right. We produce a third of the produce for the rest of the nation. So all of the policies I care most about really do apply to California directly. Innovation, AI, farming, clean water, water systems, efficiency of government, efficiency of cities, clear border policies. Well, closed border. It's not that. This is not rocket science. You just got to close and manage the border.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be simple and nice and straightforward for all of us? And then, you think about immigration policy differently too. And there's ways to do that at the state level. So I think that we could model California brilliantly as a shining example of how to bail out of the catastrophic state the nation is in right now. We just model California for the rest of the federal government.
All right. If you guys did end up teaming up with Trump for a unity party, what role would you play? What role would RFK play?
I am not in talks with Trump. I just want to make that clear. So it would be, I could envision a situation in which Bobby goes and he does an incredible job with, for example, HHS. And Human Health Services. It oversees a massive portfolio of budgets, over $1 trillion budget. It really has far reach. So I think that Bobby in a role like that would be excellent. I fully support it. I have high hopes. And, just in my personal life, I'd love to see the state of science go uncensored and uncorrupted. I don't want my child to be subject to this anymore.
And this being the censorship, dehumanization.
Yeah, and the misstating of what's actually happening. Like there's all of these great researchers who want to do the science, but they can't. There's all of these clinicians that want to speak the truth, but they can't. They actually can't. They will lose their licenses if they speak outside of the central scientific paradigm.
And how do we stop that?
It's so simple. Government stops colluding with big pharma. It's really simple. And it doesn't cost any money. That's the best part. It's both good for the economy, saves money, and allows people to access the information they need to live healthy lives.